These 5 games used to be some of the highest played experiences on the platform, but fast forward to 2025, most of these games only have around 15 active players. So today, we're gonna check them out. The first game I want to talk about is Prison Life, made by Aesthetical in 2014. It has 2.5 billion visits and averages about 1.5k visitors now. At its peak, it used to average 20 to 30,000 players at a time, and at its highest peak, it had 50,000 players on at once. This game used to be big. Its last update was in January of 2025, so it still gets a few updates here and there, but for the most part, those updates aren't really anything more than just bug fixes. You can see the game is pretty littered with exploiters and trollers now, everybody just kind of doing whatever, and I think that's fair as well because there isn't really much to do in the game besides escape. You can even see in some of the buildings, there's no interiors, there's nothing else to really do. And the main reason the game hasn't got any updates as of recent is because the developer Aesthetical has been in university and just hasn't had time to focus. There are rumors of the game getting bigger updates, possibly a rework in the future. This game is pretty nostalgic to me. This is some of the earliest games I ever played on Roblox. So it'll be cool to see what they do in the future. Hopefully they do anything. The second game is Dragon Rage by Tiger Code, made in 2011. It has 58 million visits and averages 0 players now. But at its peak, it used to average about 5 to 8,000. This game is pretty nostalgic to me because this was the first Roblox game I ever played. In this game, you pretty much have to survive dragons like attacking you on an island. It is a pretty simple game, but to me, it's damn addicting. Its last update was actually in 2023, but what's interesting about this game is it actually has a sequel called Dragon Fury, which was surprisingly made 2 days before the original, so I don't know if this is really a prequel? I don't know. But the sequel itself, Dragon Fury, only has about 3.9 million visits and also averages 0 players. The last update on that game was in 2022. And actually, I never had played the sequel up until today, and honestly, I kind of prefer it to the first. The dragons can break down the environment around you in a better way that the first game couldn't get down to. Even though the game has 0 players, it was kind of nice to just play alone. It's kind of nostalgic for me. Dragon Rage was also featured in the 2019 Egg Hunt, Scrambled in Time, or I think you can get like a dragon egg in that event. And in 2024, the developer Tiger Code actually went on his Twitter and mentioned how he was thinking about reworking the entire game. Since then, there's been no update, but I'm hoping there's a little bit of a chance that they end up reworking the game because I really think this game could be a top contender in 2025. The third game I want to talk about is Icebreaker, made in 2017 by Cracky4. The page actually says it was made in 2013, but it technically came out in 2017, so the game stands at 72 million visits and averages about 10 players nowadays. I actually remember this game being pretty big back in the day. It used to average about 5k players. It also did feature in 2 different Roblox events. The first one was the 2017 Summer Games, and the second was the 2017 Holiday event. I honestly think the Holiday event was the first time I ever played Icebreaker. And honestly, nowadays, it just kind of falls flat. It doesn't really have a lot of replayability. It could just be because the player base is so low, but I just wouldn't find myself playing this game now. The last update was in 2023, and unfortunately, there's been no word about a sequel or any updates. The developer behind Icebreaker, Cracky4, actually has 2 new games that he's been working on called Break-In and Break-In 2. You guys probably have heard of those games. They're pretty big now, and so honestly, I'm not surprised Icebreaker has gotten no updates. The game also doesn't completely work nowadays. There's a few features that are just bugged. I honestly kind of hope to see some updates made to those just to kind of patch the game up a little bit to make it playable. But overall, definitely cool to look back on this. The fourth game I want to cover is Assassin, made by Prisman in 2016. It stands at about 779 million visits and averages about 100 players now, which honestly isn't too bad. At its peak, it used to average 7,000 players. And actually, this is one of my favorite games on Roblox of all time. Some of my earliest Roblox videos were made on this game. Back in the day when I was in the community, I remember there was a huge debate on which was better, Assassin or Murder Mystery 2. The last update was in January of 2025, so it doesn't get updated too frequently anymore, but the main reason for that is because its sequel, Assassin X, gets most of the updates. Assassin X was made back in 2017, about a year after the first one was made, but it definitely does have a lower player count, which I kind of understand because I think Assassin, the base game, is something that worked and I don't think they really needed a second version. I honestly don't know why they even made a second version. There is still a pretty cult-like fan base behind Assassin, which I am a part of, I will say. So it's not like the game is completely dead. There are still people talking about it, but I don't think think there's plans to make any more major updates to the game. I think really all focuses on the second game. The original version of Assassin actually was featured in Nightmare Before Blocktober, an official Roblox Halloween event, back when Roblox actually made good events. Only thing that was disappointing is I couldn't actually load into their Assassin Royale mode. I don't think there was enough players trying to play that. Definitely a legendary game that I personally think deserves a lot more players. And the final game is a pretty important one. This game is Blammo, made by Z Kevin in 2016. Fun fact, this is actually the game that I got my name from. This game stands at 12 million visits and averages about 15 players nowadays. At its peak, it averaged 17,000 players. I remember this game being all over the front page in 2017. This was one of the biggest games. It's a pretty odd game for sure too. If you haven't played it, you play as these little like pill-shaped characters with like funny controls. I think it's a really charming game. I think there's a lot of really cool things you can do in the game. Its last update was in June of 2025, so the game is still getting updates. There was a time back in 2021 to 2023 that the game was completely dead. It had no updates, and I think its lowest player count was about 0 players, I think. But the developer Z Kevin did come back in late 2023 and started continuously updating the game, which is really good. To me, Blammo was one of the first games that really showed what Roblox could be, because a lot of games back in like 2016 and 2017 were just using the default player models, like the blocky, you know, but Blammo had its own original characters, its own original design. It is pretty sad though to see the game only averages 15 players, even though it's still getting continuous updates. Overall, it was really cool to visit these old Roblox games. They all kind of feel like a little piece of history. Like I said, it is unfortunate to see all these games not averaging the player count it used to, but I'm glad some of these developers still continuously update the game. I highly recommend you guys to play all 5 of these games. They're still pretty good games even in 2025, and I think you'll see different eras of Roblox in these games. Oh yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more videos like this, let me know. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe. Goodbye.